It's not every day that somebody says, I'm going to go for a 2.4-mile swim, I'm going to go ride my bike for 112 miles, and then just because I'm going to run a marathon. For Concordia University athletic trainer Olivia Zander, she had the opportunity to do all three in a day. She did it in just over 17 hours, and now she considers herself an Ironman. I had the opportunity to sit down with Olivia and recap the whole experience and really get to understand what makes you want to be an Ironman. All right, Olivia, it's impressive what you did. And not everybody gets to say that they're an Ironman, but what was your kind of motivation? What even got you started on this process?
So in the beginning, I kind of started with Coach Mike Stosky, the baseball coach here. We were in the weight room one day talking about doing Tough Mudders and random fun run races like that. And then he said, eventually I'd like to do a half Ironman or train for something like that. And I said, me too, but I want to do a full one eventually. And he's like, I don't know if you know how much training's involved in that, or I don't know if you know what's involved. And I was like, I know what's involved and I think I can do it. And he kind of challenged me like that. So that was the initial starting point that planted the seed.
Now, once that seed was planted, I mean, we've been friends on Snapchat. I saw more of you on a bike every single day over the past 6 to 8 months. I mean, what was that training process like? Because it looked like something that's out of a book of things that you don't want to do in life.
Yeah, so it's basically like another full-time job. You have to dedicate yourself 100% to it. So it's normally our long bike rides would be on the weekends, but like you saw me, I would be in the garage 2 to 3 days a week on my cousin's bike lab he has set up. He was my coach throughout it, and he's done about 10 or more Ironmans. I don't know the exact number, but yeah, so we had to do about 2 hours, 2 to 3 times a week in the garage, and then our long rides would be 100 miles, up to 100 miles outside.
And people don't always understand that an Ironman, you got the bike, you got to swim, you got to run. You were a runner growing up, and you did it for a long time. So I felt like for you to do the marathon part was going to be easy because you've done it before. But until you add in a 112-mile bike ride and a 2.4-mile swim before. So what was the hardest part about the training process for you?
Well, I had never done a triathlon before in my life, not even a sprint triathlon, so I had no idea what to expect. But the biking was definitely the hardest portion for me, and I thought everyone thinks going into it, I think that biking would be the easiest part, but it's very boring and it's just hard if you're not used to, road biking 100+ miles at a time, and it gets pretty tough.
Now you guys headed down to Florida. You get trained in cold. You've trained in a lot of bad conditions up here. And first off, before we even get to the whole Ironman, you're going down to a lot warmer weather, a lot different conditions than what you're used to. So how did that kind of play in? Because I know you did some training once you got down to Florida to kind of acclimate yourself before you got going.
Yeah. So we did a lot of our swims in Lake Michigan. So we started at Ohio Street Beach, and there's kind of buoys that go along the lakefront path all the way up to a mile out and back. And Lake Michigan in the summer gets kind of choppy with all the boats and everything out there, but it doesn't even compare to the Gulf of Mexico. So it was kind of good having a few days to acclimate ourselves before we did a swim in the ocean every day to kind of get used to how gross the salt water tastes and just getting whipped around like that. So
now, what were your emotions and how did you feel going up to race day, knowing you're just about to embark on an 11+ hour journey throughout anywhere you could think of in Florida?
I was nervous, but at the same time, I knew how much training I had put in, so I was actually really excited on race day, and I was ready to go. I was pumped up, and I was doing it with a lot of my cousins and a lot of people that I had trained with, so we were all happy for each other that we had gotten to that place and just were ready to go. Now
the gun goes off. You're heading into the Gulf of Mexico for a long swim, nonetheless. You get done with that. What was the feeling after each step, after you finished the swim, after you finished the bike, and then before even getting to the finish line?
Oh, man. You go through so many trials throughout the day, and it's more of a mental battle with yourself than physical, I would say. But so the swim, actually you do half of it and you come out of the water and then you go back out. So you see people that are super fast finishing before you're even done with your second lap. So that's kind of hard mentally. And there were jellyfish. The water was crazy that day, so that was kind of motivating me to go a little bit faster, not to get stung. And then going into the bike, I was probably the most nerve-wracking because that's the part I dislike the most. But I mean, it was super windy. I saw people crashing. It was kind of scary that way. But my cousin that I had done most of my training with, Lexi, I got to see her a lot on the bike, so that was good to have someone there and be able to talk through some troubles we were having. Thankfully, I didn't have any repairs that needed to happen during my bike because it's pretty common that you see people with flat tires and that kind of thing, so I was lucky with that. And then going into the run, I was even more happy because I know that's my favorite part, and I was so happy to be off the bike. So
now we get towards the finish line. I've seen the video on Facebook, and it's the look on your face is just priceless because you had that sense of accomplishment, and to see that in 11 hours of just physical endurance and 17 hours of going through just everything unimaginable and you pushed your body to the limit. I mean, what was that sense? Was it a relief or everything when you came across that line?
I struggled during the run a lot, so I needed everything I could get from my family to all the medical staff to the volunteers along the way, my coach, everyone. So when I finally saw the finish line, it seemed all day like it was so far away still, and then to finally be there and see it, and it's just crazy because you are going through a chute for a long time, and there's people like banging on the boards and so loud, and there's so much energy, so it was the greatest feeling ever.
Now, as much as it is all about you, I'm sure that there had to have been a lot of people along the way to help you through this, because as you said, it's a mental grind. There's plenty of points that you think that why am I doing this? Why would I want to finish this? What kind of people are in your life, and what does that say about the people in your life that helped you get through a 17-hour journey?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everyone from my coworkers here at Concordia to my athletes to my boyfriend, my sisters, my mom, my dad, everyone, they just supported me through it all, and I would have really tough days where I was like, I have to do another 100-mile bike ride. I don't want to. Like, I don't know if I could do it. And they would always encourage me and push me along, and especially race day. That was so key to have. I had so many of my friends, my family there, and then my cousin that was actually my coach was doing the race with me, and then he is such a good guy that he, after his race, volunteered for like 3 hours or something after to hand out, just so he could be the one to hand out our medals at the finish line, so it was awesome.
And now do you have plans to do another one? Because I know you didn't want to you said afterwards you're never going to sit on a bike again with all the miles you put in there, but are we going to see Olivia Zander do another Ironman?
Yeah, I think so. Once you cross the finish line, it's a pretty addicting feeling, so.
And it obviously had an impact on you. You even went and got a tattoo after it. I mean, just overall kind of sum up what this whole experience was to you and kind of how it helped strengthen you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a huge accomplishment, and I've always dreamed about doing it. I just didn't know that it would be this soon. I thought it would be like, 10 years down the road when I had a little more time on my hands, but I mean, it was my greatest accomplishment so far, and I'm so lucky to be able to do it and have the support to be able to do it. So,
congratulations.
Thank you.